I guess we could resort to talking about Fairy Tail and make that an actual discussion, but I don't know whether it's going to be fan group material or my channel material, but, well, I guess my channel maybe, since we're two of us instead of like the whole group.
Okay, well, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Fairy Tail?
I mean, there's a lot of things I can talk about Fairy Tail that are just, it's kind of outrageous how he goes out of his way to make sure his villains aren't really villains. Like,
yeah, he tries to make some of them a bit more sympathetic.
uh-huh.
But sometimes, I don't know, when it comes to, like, the villains sometimes in Fairy Tail, I mean, like, there's reasons why they're evil, but then sometimes some of them do get redeemed, some of them, like, don't. Some of them, I think, some of them do die.
Mm. Well, are you still reading it? Or?
Yeah, I'm still reading it. I just haven't reviewed it for a long time.
Okay. Well, basically, I've been hearing something about like Erza possibly having a mom or something of the sort.
Yeah, there's been some speculation that Erza's mother actually is alive and is a member of this group called the Spriggan 12, who's actually this group who's part of this nation called Alvarez, where Zaraf rules. Yeah, he has his own nation that he rules, and he has his own like little army called the Spriggan 12, and Eileen, who might be Erza's mother, is in that.
Yeah. Well, I also noticed there's like a lot of, and every now and then there seems to be a Spanish thing within Fairy Tail because like right now you just mentioned Alvarez, and then like even Jalal Fernandez.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm kind of thinking maybe there should be a Spanish dub for Fairy Tail and get these names right.
Maybe there is a Spanish dub.
Maybe, because one of the things that always annoyed me in the dub was that they could not pronounce the name of one group in particular. Even when I watched the Did You Know anime, they didn't pronounce the word right either. There was the group Oración Seis. No one has been able to pronounce Oración correctly. Everyone's...
Yeah, I always say like Oración?
Everyone says Oración, but I'm like, that's not right. It's Oración. Oración, like, I mean, because even they're aware that it means prayer 6, because that's what it translates to, like, Oración is prayer, but I'm thinking, none of you are pronouncing it right. I think you guys are trying, but it's still not right. That's why there's a little accent mark by the I or the O, by the O. I forgot where it is. But the point is, like, no one's been able to pronounce it correctly, so that's kind of, like, been iffy, because it keeps saying it over and over, too. Then I also noticed that the fan service itchiness is starting to pop up more often than usual. At least where I started watching.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, there has been like plenty of fan service in the manga, but there's been a huge excess of it lately, especially like in the later arcs. I mean, one of the tournaments was a freaking like bikini contest in the end.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that caught my attention.
It's honestly just one of the more bullshit fights, honestly.
Yeah, because
I'm like, this is supposed to be a fight between two mages, and what you come up with is a freaking bikini contest with only Minerva, Mira Jane, actually like landing the finishing blow, an actual finishing blow. But I'm like thinking, why did I waste my time looking at these two girls in different outfits? But I'm like thinking, oh wait, male fan service, so yeah, there you go.
I don't know, maybe they could, well, I did notice he also does it the other way around, like with Gray being like shirtless most of the time.
Yeah, but but Gray is always shirtless most of the time, so kind of like, just like, you're just used to it at this point. Just like how you're used to the fact that you see Lucy's boobs all the time.
Well, actually speaking of Lucy's boobs, there's actually a scene that also caught my attention that it didn't feel needed, even though it only lasted for like 2 or 3 seconds. It's when they're underground in the in the caverns when they're some quote unquote arrested and they have to fight against the Wolf Knights. There's like a moment when they're wandering around and for whatever reason like Lucy's like boobs were like bouncing like on the corner of the screen. So I'm just thinking, why is her? They're all walking. Hers are bouncing for like 3 seconds and then that's it. I'm thinking, like it's not even like on a clear angle. I would say it's like from the side or whatever. And I'm thinking, so why?
Because freaking fan service.
but
That's why.
I know,
It's the whole point of Fairy Tail.
I know, but it's like I don't get it. Like if you're gonna go fan service, you might as well. I guess this is like thinking like, should you go all the way or not do it at all? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out.
You think that's bad? I mean, like, did you get to like? Oh, how far are you in Fairy Tail anyway?
The dubs caught up is right. Well, I stopped like before the anime stopped going into filler, even though the dub still goes a little bit beyond that. It's basically after the whole Grand Magic Games, that's where I finished.
So yes, you know about the whole Zilconis magic thing.
Yeah, I saw that the dragon, just like I don't want the clothes give me indigestion. So
Yeah,
just,
and Lucy just happens to be naked.
yeah.
The only problem is like I don't hate Lucy. I actually like her magic, and honestly, her magic gets better later on.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that you cannot take her seriously because she's either in situations where it involves plenty of fan service where she's like half naked, or when she is naked. To the point where it's either ridiculous for me or annoying.
Yeah, because I always thought Lucy was probably should be a little more stronger than what she's shown. With all honesty, because of the spirit keys, just right off the bat, having Gemini, that's already pretty broken. And then,
Well, unfortunately, she doesn't use Gemini a lot.
yeah, I mean, it's basically copy magic and everything.
Yeah, but unfortunately, she doesn't use Gemini a lot.
Because, with all honesty, Lucy is not that different at all from Nami. Like, they're almost, except with their backgrounds, they're almost the exact same type of character, where they're not exactly the most courageous person, but they will help out when they can. Because I mean, there's plenty of scenes where both Nami and Lucy, they're just like, oh shit, yeah, I'm not gonna deal with this. Like, excuse me, I'm gonna leave, but then I'm back up to a corner. I guess now I have to fight, but I don't know.
No, I don't think that's the case with Lucy. I mean, Lucy would like go up against someone.
Yeah, I know.
Even if she is back to a corner.
I know. Is that I found like because I really doubt they're gonna bring this up like properly because during the Grand Magic Games I thought it was a good like move in order to like she was about to win the fight and then the Phantom Rouge I think or I forgot the name of the other group
Raventail.
Raventail like fucked her up like with the by cheating.
Yeah, because they.
So I thought that would be like a good, a good place for her, like where she's defeated, and then the whole next part of the story is about her, recovering from that defeat, and because that was all her for a while. I mean, technically the violence should have been a lot more worse in anime because she was getting burned, and basically she should have been like scarred and branded all over after that fight. So it's a huge loss for her. And it would make
You mean the fight with redhead girl?
Yeah, because that's when they cheated on her, like when that went down.
Yeah.
So I thought the next step
That's what
would be to, let her, make a comeback, but it just doesn't happen with that, against
I know. It was against Minerva in naval battle.
Mm-hmm.
Which, she thinks she was gonna make. No, but actually, the thing that was stupid is that Juvia was there, and
Yeah.
she's a water mage, so you'd think that she would win, but she loses because she's distracted over Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't notice that she was out of the sphere. And I'm like, that is.
The thing is, like, I would have been okay with that, like, if for a joke, if like, she pops out of it, then she realizes, oh, I'm actually out of it, then she just, like, mid-air swims back in, and then, continue the fight and win it. I would have been okay if it went that way, but the fact that, she popped out and fell out, yeah. No.
That was dumb. And it was only Lucy and Minerva, and not only that, but what's worse is like Lucy gets beaten up brutally against Minerva.
And that's kind of the problem here because you just kind of repeated the same thing what we just saw a few fights ago. So, I mean, come on, like because The thing is, I can relate to this with Ultimate Muscle actually, because one of the first major arcs is a kid with his three other friends that basically they're superheroes, but they're not doing their job properly because they're mostly like ditching their posts and they're supposed to be protecting the city, so they ditch their posts and start like trying to get dates or whatever, or so they hang out with. Okay, mind you, these are 15-year-olds regardless of how big they look. So they're 15 and they're trying to date like all these high school girls or like older women, and they're doing all that. And so basically the whole arc starts that, we got these new generation of students that have just, graduated. So we want to do a match against these four against you four, and whoever wins gets to keep their post. If not, you guys are going to be like, you get your hero license revoked basically, and you're going to have to go back to the academy, get it back, that type of shit. So the tragedy in that arc is that, like Kid Muscle, he's like the only one left that could fight against like 2 or 3 members that basically two more fights that he has to win, but he doesn't. He was actually thinking of ditching his friends, regardless if they're in the hospital. But then he finds out news, and he's like, if I leave, then I'll just be like a terrible person. So he goes back, teary eyed and everything, and then at some point at the end he has his friend called Jade, which is the German soldier, the student of Brocken. So he ends up losing to this villain in that arc, and then he's like in the hospital and all that. So Kid's like gonna win the fight for him. So that's the basic part of that arc. Another, like 2 arcs later, there's this tournament arc, and the same shit repeats itself, where that same character, Jade, is injured, and he's like, you need to win this fight for me, and they're like, yeah, I'll win this fight for you, and we just repeated the same shit again. So this is kind of the problem I had with that moment with Lucy, basically. Yeah, it just repeated the same thing, only with no solution, because um, she never, like, wins the fight, and then even though she figures out that we need to lock everyone up, lock the dragon, seal the gate because that's where the dragons are coming, it still doesn't feel like she's gotten the victory she deserves.
Okay, I have a question for. What did you think of Future Road?
Oh, the whole future thing was kind of like I wasn't sure how to take it because I was thinking back to Dragon Ball Z with Future Trunks because all right, let me start from here. Because what I wasn't sure about, I'm thinking, okay, time travel, people from the future. And I'm thinking, was this a good idea or a bad idea? Because with Trunks, obviously, it came out of nowhere also. Like, both of these things came out of nowhere. I guess it makes more sense with Fairy Tail because they were implying already that their plan was to travel to the past to get rid of Seraph and all that shit. Or I forgot who else they want to get rid. They want to get rid of some dragons basically, and then so I wasn't sure because I didn't like Rogue at all because I feel like he had no character to begin with. And I'm talking about normal Rogue.
Wait, Future Rogue and normal
one
Rogue.
because I know he has his friend, with his froggy cat friend
Frosh.
Frosh. Because he really had no character for the whole part. Because when they were first introduced with what's his friend's name?
Sting.
Yeah, there we go. Sting and Rogue. They just show up like, I remember I used to be a friend. I used to look up to Natsu, and Rogue's like, I want to take on Gajio. And I'm like, why? Like you never mentioned.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we know that they looked up to them, but we never knew why. It was never like touched upon. Not even in the manga.
No. That's kind of the reason I'm wondering. We got these third generation dragon slayers. We're gonna mop the floor with you, Natsu. Like, yes, leave
Natsu
for
beats
me.
the crap out of them.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like,
Yeah. A lot of people hated that chapter when it came out because it was complete bullshit that 2 third-generation Dragon Slayers lost to Natsu, and Natsu wasn't even like using any of his like
Super Saiyan 2.
Yeah.
Especially with, hey Natsu, remember? I don't remember his name, but you remember that guy you fought a couple years ago in the Tenrou Island with that the God Destroyer magic, whatever. Like, wasn't that a big deal? Oh, you're fighting 1 against 2. Like, I don't think that's gonna help, bro. I don't know. It's just that even then, Natsu, like, the typical, like, shonen hero lead, your excuse from all the fights except the last major one, which that gonna win. And
no, actually, what's really worse is that he pushed Gajio aside, which I was like, fuck you. And Gajio was honestly like one of my favorite characters in Fairy Tail. And he finally gets his due in his fight against Rogue, where he gets like his own second element.
Yeah, well, which I admit, regardless of the BS that it is, I'm just like, you look cool, Gashio.
Yeah,
but
Gaju's freaking badass.
I know it's like, I'm a steel shadow dragon. Like, what are you? I'm like a steel dragon type. Fuck yeah.
And he hasn't gotten Dragon Force yet.
I don't know. But anyways, the only problem, well, we mentioned this, we talked about this once before, but it actually goes back to what I don't like about Fairy Tail, that how much of the design seem to be ripped off from other places. And I don't know, when I talk about JoJo ripping off panels from other series, no one like takes me seriously. They always say, no, it's they keep telling me things like, no, it's alright. And then there's even people that told me that good artists steal or something. I'm like, I don't know, I don't like the idea of justifying theft from art. But then no one has any complaints when JoJo does it, but when Fairy Tail, it's like, oh, you're ripping off stuff.
Actually, people notice that in Fairy Tail. In fact, you can like find like posts about it, like the fact that Guild Arts looks like Shanks.
Yeah, I know that one. But what I was gonna say with Gagio was that he basically kind of looks like Greed in that metal form, just with cooler hair. I don't know, there's a lot of them. Like even Leon, if you think about it, his hairstyle is like very similar to Hitsugaya, especially with the whole ice elements magic. So,
oh my
god! There's comparisons like left and right with other things. So, because I admit that even Toriko has like a lot of influence from other shit too, but it doesn't like take the designs for the most part. And in Fairy Tail, you see a lot of that.
Yeah, that's sadly kind of true.
I am disappointed with. I could see why a lot of people don't like Grand Magic games, because I myself don't. There was stuff that I liked about it, but then there's a lot of stuff that I don't like about it. It's like the fight with Erza against Minerva and Kaguya, or I think that was, or Kagura, sorry, not Kaguya. Because I was alright with the whole like taking Miliana hostage, and then you have to force these two to fight each other. But I actually thought Erza was gonna take the cut. When she unsheathes the sword, I thought she was actually gonna take the hit, and then continue the fight after that. Like she was gonna give her a free shot, but no, instead she blocks it, and then like there's some more important things I need to do. I'm like, I would have been okay, but it would have been more manlier if you took the hit though. If you give her a free shot, and then I think it would have been more impressive for her as a character to accept her like in a form of repentance, that she gets up and lets Kagura cut her intentionally, like not even trying to block it or anything. But I mean,
if I recall, the problem is with that is that the cut did nothing. When they don't sheath their sword, it just did nothing.
Well, in the anime, she blocked it, so.
Or maybe she didn't in manga. I don't know. It's been a while.
Well, the point is she blocked it, and then she said, I got more important things to do, and then I don't know. I just because I don't picture any Fairy Tail character to be like torn limb from limb, with honesty, regardless of the injuries he gets. So I mean, I already saw like that other guy going swimming in lava and come out okay. So just a couple of scratches and like a little bit of just a little bit hot, but he'll make it. He's not gonna lose any limbs for that.
He was submerged in lava. He should suffer
There's a lot of fights where I know the anime censors, but even so, I still feel there's a lot of fights where the characters should be more fucked up than they actually are. Like back with the whole Phantom Lord arc, when Gagio was beating on Lucy. Like honestly, her ribcage should have been smashed and everything, because he was like punching her with pure iron. So that her bones, everything. Honestly, she should have been crippled after that. But then again, here's the thing: you could make up the bullshit since it's magic and everything, that you can make them get hurt as fucked up as you want, and then just recover with magic, because that can do anything. So regardless of what happens, you got magic as a as a little convenience. So that way you can have fun with the violence. Because I'm gonna mention this in Stone Ocean, but and when I do the review, is that Foo Fighters is one character that has regenerative abilities. So, and throughout the whole manga, she gets fucked up like a lot in fights. Like the most fucked up things, like her head being sliced open and everything, that type of shit. So yeah, there's like a lot of she gets like a lot of fucking abuse, but it's okay because she can regenerate. So I'm gonna be as violent as I fucking can, Araki. You So, yeah. Anyways.
Okay, I got another question for you.
Okay.
What did you think of the whole Nakagami Starlight armor?
Oh, yeah, the way that Erza wins.
Yeah.
It's what does the armor do again? Like absorb magic energy or something, or?
No, it can bend the laws of magic. That's what it can do.
Because I didn't even remember what it do. All I know that she won after that, but yeah, I mean,
She had a freaking Deus Ex Machina armor.
whatever happened to just Erza, what you said back in the Tower of Heaven arc, that you didn't need armor, you could just fight. That you're more better without the armor than with it on. So, but then again, there's also that Purgatory armor, which I forgot what that does also, but I know it's another one that's kind of hex. So yeah, there's a lot of things in Grand Magic games in general that I don't like. Like for example, Laxus. As much as I like the idea of Laxus fighting the entire Raventail guild like on his own, I just felt that the fight was too fast. I would like to see 1 against 5 and him winning at the end, but it should have been like 3 or 4 episodes. I guess 3 episodes of that or 4, or because I mean, there's a lot of things in that arc where they're introducing this villain. You get hyped for this. He's purposely hyping it up, but then he does not deliver. It's like, no, I'm gonna get rid of him. I'm like, Raven too? Nah, that boss of whatever Sting and Rogue's guild was. I don't even remember names of guilds anymore. Like even that group, like he just kills the boss.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
He doesn't kill the boss, but he just like because even then they troll you because you think that they killed the wow, I'm forgetting names. It's like it's
I
kitty.
honestly forgot his name too.
It's
Gemma, that was his name, Gemma.
Yeah, but he killed the kitty.
Gemma.
Wasn't it? It's something with an S, I think. The little cat that Sting's cat. Very.
Lecter.
Yeah, well, there we go. I don't know why am I thinking S? I was thinking like some other. Yeah, I mean, because he looks like he's gonna kill Lecter, and it looks like I was actually thinking, holy shit, they killed somebody. But then, nope, nope, nope.
I'm like, come to think of it, why did he like send him to another dimension?
Well,
no, wait, it was Minerva
that did that just so he could use him as a hostage. I mean, I was liking the idea. It's like all these villains, they're not. I know Minerva is supposed to come back later, which I think that's probably the only legit villain, one of the few so far. But actually going, I don't know. But going back to Future Rogue, I just felt like he kind of came out of nowhere. But Future Trunks did the same thing too. So, but anyways, I just also kind of found it really odd that so we got this villain from the future, and it's this one character that we don't know much of anything about, and then now he's like whatever his reasons are also left in the dark until like he's actually the one that brought forth the dragons and I'm just thinking, okay, so you come back from time because there's a
actually I think it's been established that he's from a different alternate timeline from the futures. I mean, there was also future Lucy.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
I don't know.
Well, the point is, I just found it weird. So you're coming from a place where dragons clearly, ruined your life. So now you're coming back because you want to let that shit happen anyways, just so you can be the ruler of this destroyed land which you so clearly hate. I don't.
And in order to kill Agnologia.
Yeah. So. The dark side.
No, actually, what's even more stupid is how he falls into the dark side.
Well, I understand that his Frosh ends up getting killed, but is it just because of that, or is there something else?
It's because of that. It's because of that the whole the whole they established this whole shadow thing.
Yep.
That Rogue has. Apparently, that overtakes his heart, consumes him, and he became evil. So all because of a freaking XE.
So they don't mention where the shadow came from, or if it's
magic. Never explained where the freaking shadow came from. Which is annoying because is this part of shadow magic, Shadow Dragon Slayer magic,
or some ancient demon that
darkness in the heart? I don't know. They never say anything about it. It's never explained.
Actually, that reminds me of 2 other things in that guild that I didn't like either.
What?
Is that there was the guy with the lightning magic that was supposed to fight Laxus. You know, because even the openings like
Oh yeah.
hyping that up is like you
Yep.
use lightning magic or whatever. I forgot what I don't even remember.
It was black lightning.
Yeah, I use black
So-
lightning. It's like a match made in heaven or something. And then guy with the beard and
Jura.
whatever. Like I found him boring. Like I never liked that character.
Really?
I never liked that
That's kinda cool.
character. I never liked him. I don't know why. Ever since like back with the whole Oración 6, I never liked him. And he just pops out of nowhere, one shots the guy. Is like, now you and I shall fight Laxus, and I'm like, no man, come on. It's like like you're getting me excited, and then you just like it's like you're telling me, hey, we're gonna celebrate your birthday with this cake, and then you tell me, we didn't get the flavor you wanted, so here's this other one.
Well, the thing is with Orga, I mean, he uses black lightning, so it was rumored that he uses Godslayer magic.
Yeah,
which,
I mean, it would make sense, but then what kind of annoys me more is that afterwards, when the dragons are showing up, and then it's like he's just like, I'm gonna help you guys because fuck it, friendship, yeah, friendship power, motherfucker. And the same thing goes to the guy with the hats that has some memory magic.
Rufus.
Yeah, Rufus. He should be more overpowered because I mean, as long as you see the technique, you're basically have every type of magic under your disposal. As long as you see it, it's like you're like a portable recording shotgun. Fuck. I mean, that's like main villain type of power, not subordinate. I don't know. But then again, a lot of magic in fairy tales like overhacks as hell. Like some characters should have. I don't know. Some of these abilities shouldn't be like just thrown out there. It should be with like. I mean, right off the bat with wow, I really can't remember names right off the bat, even though I like some of these characters. It the one with the Medusa eye magic in the Thunder Legion.
Oh, Evergreen.
Yes, Evergreen. Is that like I mean right off the bat that she could turn anyone to stone just by looking at them with eye contact, and then you got this other guy from the Phantom Lord Guild that could seal magic, and that he got rid of Makarov right off the bat. So I'm thinking, all these powers, like it's kind of a little inconsistent. Like the balance of powers, like it's all over the place.
Dude, there's an armor that can nullify the laws of magic. I'm like, whatever. No, what's actually really annoying is that sometimes a power can be so hacked that the only way to defeat the villain that has this overhacked power is to like bring in a Deus Ex Machina.
I just got another one. Like, hey, Endless Jalal, you can put people to sleep. I know magic isn't that powerful there, but I'm just saying you could do that. I don't know.
No, this is the real Jalal. Those Jalal's an Endless.
Wait a minute. Now I think about it. The Endless Jalal. Remember everyone had these pills so they could use magic. Couldn't you do that to yourself?
You mean Lacrima?
Yeah, because everyone ate these pills so they could use their magic and Edelus, otherwise it wouldn't work. So I'm thinking, the Edelus Jalal from there. Like, couldn't you do it yourself and you could have solved the problem? Because you could have a magic that puts everyone to sleep, regardless of how powerful they are. So, couldn't you? I don't know. But then again,
I don't know.
And then again, even the Exceeds, that's another example where the villains are just like, I don't know, what am I gonna do with these villains? First, I introduced them as these diabolical figures that you got these cutesy things that it turns out they're very fucking evil because they have the whole human race enslaved, and they could actually supposedly they can kill people at any time or whatever because they're like gods. But then it turns out, no, we're not gods. We just made this sham so we can protect ourselves, and we're not that bad, but we still cause all this shit to go down between like the civil war between the kingdoms and people hunting down other people, them serving us. We're not. I don't know. There's just so much questionable things in fairy tale. Like even with Leon in the first arc. It's like, I'm bringing back this demon. Why? So I can kill it. And then we're gonna conquer the world. I guess I don't know. I forgot. And then what makes it even more strange is wasn't Ultear the oh wait, Ultear's the daughter or is that the parent?
Ultear's the daughter. The parent is old.
Okay. Well, basically Ultear, you know, because going back, it doesn't feel makes too much sense that she was the one orchestrating all the events of the Jilao Tower of Heaven arc when she was like just a kid. And, like, you know, stuff like that. I'm thinking that it would have been more sense if you were a kid
No,
at that time.
actually, no. Honestly, what annoyed me the most is that like had a chance to actually return to her mother. She sees her smiling while she was training with Gray and Leon, and she was like all sad because mommy forgot about me. And I'm like thinking, just go up to her.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those
Just
situations.
smiling doesn't mean that she hasn't forgotten you.
It's one of those situations where if things could have been avoided if we just stayed there for a few more seconds. Yeah, but I do like the idea of how she sort of repented at the end of the Grand Magic Games, where she's actually the cause of everyone. Even though it's a Deus Ex Machina, I do like the fact that, you know, she kind of like almost threw away her life just to like give everyone like a second chance, and she became an old lady. So, well, actually, before
That
this
was actually nice.
before this gets ruined, I just want to ask: does she come back like younger or anything, or just when?
Okay, well, the thing after the Grand Magic Games, there's this arc called the Tartaros Arc, and then there's this, I think there's a 1 year time skip that happens which is basically like bringing back all the fairy tale members together because they go in their separate ways or some shit. And then there's this whole other arc that involves with Alvarez that I mentioned before, and yeah, she does come back. As young, but not really, because there's an explanation for that. Okay.
Oh, is she like Genkai?
Yeah, do you... Huh?
Like Genkai type of thing, where, you know, she can go back to young form and back to old?
No. I'm not actually sure how to explain this. Do you want me to explain this to you? Because it's technically a spoiler.
I guess not, but the point is that she comes back and it kind of takes away her sacrifice. I mean, her being alive already was kind of...
And no, but again, it's up for interpretation. I mean, it hasn't been adapted in the anime yet.
Yeah. That's the thing, well, yeah. Because I can tell that from the beginning that Fairy Tail is one of those series that it suffers from the same problems as Naruto and Bleach, and supposedly One Piece is getting back on its foot, back on track with its stuff, but, you know, I mean, I was already noticing all these questionable stuff ever since the Galula Island or whatever island arc with the whole, like, we're not actually demon, I mean, we're not actually turning into yokai, ogre, demon things. We were that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those series that I just really like the characters, and the same thing goes for Naruto. Actually, when I was like doing that anniversary special, which I'm still working on, that yeah, I was remembering some things that, yeah, I remember liking stuff like this, but then I remember where it heads. It's like how can I put this? I don't know. It's like you're watching a VHS tape or something, and then it's like all good. But you know that if you keep watching too much, the tape is gonna get ruined. It's gonna, you know, come out of the VCR all messed up. That's how I feel like a lot of these Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail, and a little bit of One Piece that's all been with me recently. I don't know, because I was disappointed with Elfman fight in the Grand Magic Games because he's just blocking. I mean, come on, Elfman, you're a manly guy. You should be punching your way to victory, not blocking.
No. Because that's the problem with Fairy Tail. They hype up villains or opponents who are supposedly strong and powerful, and they don't live up to their expectations. Or they do, but they lose easily.
Actually, this kind of goes back to the whole fan service thing. Is that because I just came across a picture that for some reason, like Erza, Wendy, and wow, I'm forgetting the one who uses the card magic's name. Oh, I'm so...
Kana.
Oh, Kana. Yeah, it was Kana. Yeah, for some reason right now I'm looking on Google Images and I just found a picture of them like in these like skin-tight latex outfits and they're like twerking for some reason. Well, they're not exactly twerking, they're shaking their butts, but from side to side. I'm kind of wondering, you know, most of Fairy Tail's humor and characters is like really silly, and I'm thinking it would have been better if this was just aimed at a, well, this thing that's weird because I'm like, you're clearly aiming this at a child demographic, and especially the whole friendship and the way they're fighting villains, because the characters are usually the most likable thing. But I just find it odd that you have all these sexual and fan service things going around, and it kind of takes away the idea of making it like PG for the most part. Because I know people complain with Toriko like it's not as violent enough, but it still doesn't take away that there's still eating scenes like in both manga and anime, regardless of it. But with Fairy Tail, I just feel that it really shouldn't have any of those fan service moments, with honesty.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't think, because a lot of there's just so much silly things in there, whether it's filler or not, or canon. I mean, I'm trying to think, because it's over the top as well. Like, One Piece also has it. Cause it's like, take One Piece for example. It didn't start doing any. Nami wasn't busty until like the times where everyone was like doing the busty thing, and then most of the time Nami's like wearing half a bikini and with jeans. Same thing goes for Robin, and then you start noticing that Oda starts drawing all of his women characters with the hourglass figure, and showing off cleavage, when before there clearly was no evidence of that. And with Fairy Tail, I feel it's the same thing, where there was clearly it wasn't exactly there until like a later point, and then that kind of takes away from it being sort of kid friendly per se. I just feel it should have been marketed that way because of the I'm trying to think, because there's like really trying to come up with like a very hilarious moment. Okay, the one thing that comes to mind that I really fucking enjoyed, as silly as it was when they're in Tenrou Island and Gajio's fighting against these two beasts. One's like a swords.
Oh
The
yeah.
other one's a fucking rooster or chicken. He's shooting eggs
Oh, yeah.
at them. And I'm just like, you can't be kidding me. Because there's like a later part of the fight where some eggs are coming out and Elfman is starting like to eat the eggs. And I'm thinking like, yeah, please tell me you're gonna eat the eggs, because it'd be funny if you did. And he does. And I'm just like, yes, do it. There's stuff like that, especially with all the celestial spirits. How like you got the cow one that he's then in the Funimation dub they put more puns because of the word moo can go better with English words, so he'd be like, come on Lucy, give me a smoosh, stuff like that. And I just love it when it does that. I'm thinking, this really should be.
Yeah, there are times where Fairy Tail can be funny.
Yeah, that's why I feel with the way the tone is, especially with the friendship thing, how that's mainly the main aspect, that it should be aimed for a more kid friendly tone rather than because even with the violence, it's never that graphic. You don't see, people eating each other's brains out or pulling eyeballs, or in JoJo's case, you don't see animal abuse. So,
No.
so that's what I'm saying. And it should have been there, but then every now and then you get like some imagery, which I'm like, I kind of like what I'm seeing because I'm a guy and then I'm like in my 20s. But even so, I'm thinking we could probably be without it. Like, I think like these are really cool designs personally, but at the same time, you want to try to make this sort of kiddish. I guess it'd be better off not exposing too much skin, I suppose. It's like let's say because it's clearly aimed to the kid demographic, but then it's not like a kid could like, okay, for example, if you're a kid and you're watching Sailor Moon, like you could still cosplay it, dress up as them like for Halloween or something.
Yeah.
But for Fairy Tail, like you can't dress up like Mary Jane. A kid cannot dress up like Mary Jane for Halloween. You see what I'm getting at? Yeah, like when Mary Jane's in her devilish form, like you just.
Yeah, actually, I noticed that in like the earlier arcs, like some of the girls actually don't like dress all provocatively,
Yeah, because even there's moments where it's clearly out of character too, because there's a moment like in Tenrou Island where Erza is just like in her lingerie with the apron, and like that's it. And I'm thinking there's no reason for her to. No person would actually dress up like that. No matter like where they are, they wouldn't dress up like that. And then I'm trying to think of another moment. Like for Lucy or Erza, like I forgot which character, maybe both of them. That supposedly that they had like some like sexy lingerie or something, or like, there's even like some jokes like during the Grandmagic games where Erza went all like what's dominatrix for a little bit. And I'm thinking it's not, and I feel like that's not exactly a character trait she would do, and it would make more sense for that's just more like Mashima doing his thing. Yeah, like the bikini contest one's another example of that. Because there's actually one episode which I don't know if you read it because it's a special manga chapter that it was based on, and it's something called like the chapter is the episode was called Moulin Rouge. It's basically how Erza met the Rouge, the cowgirl, like
Oh yeah, I read it.
yeah, because that was actually one of my favorite episodes because it just starred her, but even then, like she for no reason at all, she was dressed in a bunny outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where like I like what I'm looking at, but I don't think it's appropriate for like who you're trying to market this for, because like it's one of those things where it's kind of strange how back then like if you were like into cartoons or anime like when you were like in elementary it wasn't exactly cool, but then in middle school it started to be kind of cool, then in high school I don't know, like the people will be saying like things like oh it's not a cool thing to get into or whatever, but now you'll see people in their 20s, maybe even their 30s and older, be watching cartoons such as pretty much anything from Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, Regular Show, Adventure Time, We Bear Bears. The list goes on. Like anything that's popping up right now, you can guarantee that most of the fan base is mostly adults in their 20s or older. Like especially with Steven Universe of all things, because even though Cartoon Network, when there's always commercials where you see kids submit their fan videos for it, and I just find it kind of odd that you got this thing that's clearly meant for kids, but most people in their 20s are the ones like really enjoying it. They're making videos about them, and then I'm thinking it's kind of like the strange thing with shonen anime in particular too, because they're aimed at the child demographic, but older people are clearly into it, probably even more so than the kids. And they're also the reason why they get so angry and shit. And I think that's also the reason why the fan service exists, even though I feel like it probably would be better without it. I don't know, that's just how I feel about it. Now, what do you think?
What do I think?
About all this?
Honestly, not sure what to think about a fairy tale lately.
Well,
but
okay.
But one thing's for sure, like once the anime gets adapts one of the later arcs, it does get better, but then there are times where it will get worse. So basically, just if you're like continuing with fairy tale, just expect like a bit of an uphill downhill kind of thing going on.
Oh, let me put it this way: is Tartaros Arc like good or what?
It actually starts off good, actually. Is it the best arc? No, but I consider it one of the better arcs so far after the time skip. And that's saying much.
Okay, well then again, that's pretty much where the anime is gonna stop at this point. So
yeah,
because I know that I don't know. There's just a lot of story elements where I just feel that I think people. I mean, I kind of wonder. Just can't help but wonder how do they fuck up something when there's clearly like things can work. I mean, you have all the right materials, the right characters, and the sort of like the right. I don't know, but then again, fairy tales like storyline was always sort of like more based on missions rather than an ongoing story, which I know part of it has to do with the dragons. Like that's basically the whole real story material that we're getting from that and their backstories.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like there's when Sarah's first introduced, like even right now I don't know anything about him. It's just that I just find it odd. He's introduced. He's like Natsu. I know you. And then I'm thinking I kind of wanna end my own life. And then no, I'm gonna.
Oh, they go more into detail about that with Seraph. You just have to wait for it.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And I'm thinking I just didn't like the idea that you have to wait that long. Is that I just don't like the idea of like that you introduce something, then you gotta wait like years for it to go anywhere. Sort of like how it is with the Blackbeard pirates in One Piece. Like you introduce them for a while, you hint at them again, you hint at them again. Oh, now they're doing something. Okay, now we're waiting. Now they're doing something, and something big happens, and now we're still waiting. So I don't know. I think some stuff might have happened recently with the current arc. But even then, it just kind of off and off, on off and off. I'm thinking, come on, just keep it a flowing, consistent narrative, and that's I think that's kind of the reason why I'm liking like some other things more, because I don't know, Fairy Tail has just been like it's one of those things where like I like a lot of the characters, it's just the story.
You know where things get bad.
Yeah, you just know
That's
it when it happens, and me especially, I just can't tell where I just feel like I could have done this a different way. Like I wouldn't know exactly how to correct it, but I just know that there was definitely a better way than this. And then, well, like one of the things that I'm actually kind of curious about Grand Magic Games is trying to figure out like, was he trying like to make a greater emphasis on the points? Like that's the reason why some of the story events turned out that way it did, because at the end he wanted them to be, because the whole deciding factor was for Sting to have just the right number of points and right amount of opponents to battle, so it could look like he has a chance. And it actually, that's why I'm wondering like if he purposely like make some fights short or got rid of some people just to make that setting happen. So who knows? But I don't know. I think it's the only thing I can appreciate about the guy that he seems sort of passionate of what he's doing, even though I don't always like his decisions. Like you know, I already mentioned a lot of things from Grand Magic Games. That and I still am wondering about like the whole like nausea weakness that Dragon Slayers have. I'm not sure that was a good idea or not. Like when I first started, I wasn't even sure like a lot of the gags were really funny or not. Like Natsu getting sick, Ray taking off his clothes when he doesn't realize it, or I don't know. I can't come up with anything else. And the main thing I really liked about it is that one of the arcs that I really liked was Tenrou Island and the what is the name of that arc? The Battle of Fairy Tail, where you know Laxus ends up with his Thunder Legion. Is that just the fact that a lot of the supporting cast were like very active throughout the whole arc. And I think that's the greatest strength that it has, is just the utilization of the characters. Just that sometimes they don't get utilized right. Like with Elfman, it looks like he's gonna take Wendy's place for like a good. I felt like he was gonna take a chunk of Wendy's place, but it was just really for one fight and the preliminaries. So I'm just thinking, and then the way he wins the battle is just by taking the hits. I mean, come on, you come back with a new design, you do all this training, you don't punch him. Come on, Elfman. You said you were manly. I believed you. I still think you're manly, but come on. It was a manlier way. Because, I mean, the whole setup of the fight is perfect, too, where they start doing the bet thing, and he says, like, oh, well, why you let me sleep with both of your sisters? I'm just like, come on, Elfman, you're not gonna take that shit. You're not gonna take that shit. And then he's taking shit. He's getting hit. Oh, come on. Elfman. No. It's like, come on. So much. Yeah, it just goes back to a
Well, honestly, I don't know what I can tell you to like.
What?
Are you still gonna continue reading it and watching it?
I'll watch it once the dub like catches up. When the dub finishes the whole like Tartaros arc, because that's the main thing. And then I don't know. There's just stuff. There's some stuff that I like about it. Like I said before, it's just mostly the characters and some of the designs. I don't know.
I should warn you that right now we're in a war arc.
Oh boy, war arcs in shonen anime. No one does that right. It's that and the Breaking Back People from the Dead army arc. That doesn't work right either.
Ironically, actually, there is a character that does bring back people who either died or actually brings back people that they've originally fought, but only as memories.
Yeah, I know. It's something with Erza. I know about that one. Yeah, but even then, I heard how it's resolved with since they're memories, you're not real. I won.
And Tartarus has a necromancer, so
yeah, I don't know. It's just things that I just feel it could have been. It's the whole problem with Fairy Tail to me is that I haven't been able to find like. It's sort of like comparing the Dragon Ball Z movies. It's that I feel like we still haven't experienced the perfect movie. And that's how I feel with Fairy Tail. Like the arc hasn't been perfect. There hasn't been a villain that I really like. There hasn't been like the closest things to me was Tenrou Ivan because everyone almost had like a good fight. To me, I just kind of like the idea.
You like the Tenrou Island arc?
Yeah, there's some moments I didn't like when Kana gets the fairy glitter and then it just kind of like doesn't do anything. And that villain, the guy she was gonna use it on, like just kind of came out of nowhere, and then Gildarts kind of beats him, and then Erza. As much as I like that fight with Erza against the tree guy, he's like, I'm gonna give you a fighting chance because I'm a warrior, even though I pretty much could have fucked up everyone. I could have killed everything. And then, with Laxus showing up, I don't know. I just feel like things could have been better, especially with the drag with Acnololia showing up at the end. Like that could have been the right. I just felt that could have been the ending of Fairy Tail. Like maybe they could have just killed Acnologia somehow with everyone, and then you see them years later, like years later, and then their guild's like regarded as like one of the best or something. I don't know.
No, because that'd be bullshit.
I don't know. I just feel like it could have just. Because after that, I don't feel it's ever been that exciting to me, with honesty.
Honestly, if anything, Fairy Tail should have escaped while, like, Makarov fights against Acnologia, and then he dies.
Yeah. And then there should be, like, the whole time skip arc where everyone's all gloomy, and then they come back, we're gonna kill Acnologia, and then story's done, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah there's different options.
Instead, they're sealed inside a freaking bubble for 7 years without realizing it.
To me, the only greatest strength of repercussions for that arc is that, well, there was two things that I liked from it. Well, I guess one and a half, I should say. The first thing was Lucy with her dad, which I felt that was a very important thing to do.
Yeah.
But
that was a good thing.
The other part, what I didn't like, which it could have gone somewhere, was the fact that everyone else was greater than them because of the time skip arc. So I thought that it should have been a struggle of them trying to recover. Like maybe they was gonna it could have been.
No.
I don't know. They could have been.
It's because like the main cast is sealed inside a freaking sphere for 7 years, not aging, not even realized that 7 years has passed, and the supporting characters, the minor ones, they're still around. And they're the worst skilled now. It was implied that their magic has improved, but I mean, like, we don't even care about these guys.
That's why they didn't go to the island.
No.
Oh, that's kind of the thing that I don't know. That's kind of why I kind of like. Because here's my problem with time skips. Like it happened in One Piece also, where everything's like all dark and gloomy, and that's what Fairy Tail was going also, and that's what I was liking, about them trying to get back on their feet. But it gets resolved so quickly, they once the original guildmates return, they knock out against that other guild that was like being mean to them.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but when they instantly come back, they win the freaking tournament.
I don't know. I just feel it's just could have been other ways, but because the same thing goes with One Piece. It seemed to be darker at first, but then everyone knocks out the pacifistas pretty quickly. So I guess this wraps up some of the conversations for Fairy Tail, because I kind of feel this is probably something I'm gonna talk about more in the future.
Yeah.
Alright, so I don't think we didn't give any proper introductions, but I guess you should give yourself a little farewell, saying I guess you could give me an introduction now. I don't know.
What do we say?
I don't know. Just say your name, I guess, and just I don't know your channel.
Right. Hey guys, Lunarspiral1127 here. You can check out my channel on Lunarspiral1127. Shit, I screwed that up.
It's fine. I'll just keep that in there.
No, I want to redo it.
Okay, go.
Hey guys, I'm Lunarspiral1127, and you can check out my main channel, which will be on the link description box down below. Also my backup channel, here with the anime hero, and we're just talking about some stuff on Fairy Tail.
Yeah, we'll probably talk more in the future. Maybe by the time I finish Tartaros, because I know Random Anime also wanted to talk to me about Fairy Tail. See where it goes from there. Who knows? It's gonna be like my life experience or my anime experience with Fairy Tail by this point. I don't know. I guess we'll just end it on that note.
Okay.
Later, everybody.
Wait, that's the conclusion.
I don't know. I was kind of expecting you to say goodbye or something. Well, then again, none of my other podcasts, I don't think none of us have actually given like a farewell. We just kind of like, whatever, bye. We just like hang up. We don't really give anything. I don't know. I guess I'll stop recording now.